Heyo! I have a pile of indie games on Switch to cover from the past month or two, so I'm splitting up my review into two parts. Part 1 will focus on action games, and I should add quotes to action games as some toe the line, let's say. Then in Part 2, coming later this week, I'll check out some roguelikes. Okay, intro aside, let's get to the gaming! Let's begin with this. Alien Hominid Invasion is a direct sequel to the first game from 2004. When the alien in that game crash lands on Earth, the sequel posits that he hailed the mothership for help. Well, unfortunately for him, it took them 19 years to get to Earth, and that's really all the backstory you need. You get to customize your alien as you and your brother invade Earth, fighting off FBI agents and robots. Instead of a straightforward run-and-gun platformer, Alien Hominid Invasion has taken on more of a roguelike formula. The maps are randomized, and you can play where you lose everything upon death, or you can play it like a modern game and keep progress. There's also a multiplayer option, which is the most fun way to experience it, although I did play most of it by myself, and I still loved it. It's wacky, colorful, and controls so much better than the original. I was also given a code for Alien Hominid HD, which I checked out for a few levels, just to, remind myself how the game was, and I was surprised at how clunky, comparatively, it was. But I mean, it is a 19-year-old game, so, which is based on a Flash game, and etc. I can't complain too much, is the point. Overall, though, Alien Hominid Invasion was a delight, and is easily one of the best co-op games for Switch this year, hands down. Now next, we have Dwerve, and, it has some action in it, although it is more of a tower defense game. You play as the titular Dwerve, a dwarf who wants to prove himself. When his hometown gets invaded by monsters, he sets off on a quest to make things right. You can explore dungeons and towns, solve some puzzles, which basically means you're hitting some switches, and so on in a top-down world divided by levels on a world map akin to Super Mario World. Combat, which pops up in gated arenas, is where the tower defense part comes into play. Gaining gears can help you upgrade your traps and turrets from an arrow launcher to one that spins blades. It's a fine tower defense game, but nothing about it made me feel compelled to keep going. It's just a genre thing, But if you like tower defense games, then I'm confident, you'll probably like this one. Now we have Ninja or Die, which I also wasn't huge on, but here we go. The game puts you in command of a ninja, of course, in a series of levels connected by rooms that won't take more than a minute or two to solve. Players launch their characters in an arc, kind of like a more brutal version of Angry Birds. Coming into contact with an enemy will automatically begin combat, and you can bounce around walls as well, gain power-ups, and so on. The gameplay style was weird to me on Switch that I had to look it up because I felt like it must have been converted from a mobile game, and I mean that in the best way possible. There are some great mobile games out there, but strangely, it's not. I think the control style threw me off too much to enjoy Ninja or Die as much as I could have on, say, an iPad, which I get is a weird criticism. It just felt limiting to me. Finally, we have my favorite game of this compilation, Prison City. I loved it so much that I wanted to create a dedicated video to it, but, alas, my time is limited. So, it was a true surprise because I see and play a lot of retro games trying to capture the good old days on NES. This is one of the good ones that I would put right up there with Shovel Knight, but, maybe without the charm or lived-in world that Shovel Knight has. So, fluffing aside, Prison City stars Hal, who is tasked with entering this literal prison city to rescue people and stop raiders and robots from terrorizing the rest of the world. It plays a lot like one of my favorite NES games, Power Blade, which I have made a video about. Everything about it rules, from the controls to the crazy colors to the amazing music. It hits on every level. I could go on and on, but before I go on more, I'm going to end the discussion and this overall video now. Super high recommendations to Prison City, of course, and Alien Hominid Invasion. And again, while I think Dwerve and Ninja or Die are fine, I wouldn't necessarily run out and buy them. It really depends on what kind of, what kind of action game you're looking for out there. And that is it. Thanks as always for watching, and see you next time.